Hi everyone, I'm Corey Wells, back for day 10 of National Poetry Month. Yesterday I shared the poem Vinegar and Fizz by David Graham, in which he says that his mother enjoyed splashing in Hyperbole's lake. And that way of saying that she exaggerated, maybe at sometimes more than others, brings me to today's selection, which is called My Husband Discovers Poetry by Diane Lockward, from her book Eve's Red Dress, which was published by Wind Publications. This also appears in the Writer's Almanac, and I first discovered this poem and Diane's work when my mentor Bill Brown shared this poem in a workshop many years ago, and I've never forgotten it. My Husband Discovers Poetry by Diane Lockward. Because my husband would not read my poems, I wrote one about how I did not love him. In lines of strict iambic pentameter, I detailed his coldness, his lack of humor. It felt good to do this. Stanza by stanza, I grew bolder and bolder. Towards the end, struck by inspiration, I wrote about my old boyfriend, a boy I had not loved enough to marry, but who could make me laugh and laugh. I wrote about a night, years after we parted, when my husband's coldness drove me from the house and back to my old boyfriend. I even included the name of a seedy motel well known for hosting quickies. I have a talent for verisimilitude. In sensuous images, I described how my boyfriend and I stripped off our clothes, got into bed, and kissed, then spent half the night telling jokes, many of them about my husband. I left the ending deliberately ambiguous, then hid the poem away in an old trunk in the basement. You know how this story ends, how my husband one day loses something, goes into the basement, and rummages through the old trunk, how he uncovers the hidden poem and sits down to read it. But do you hear the strange sounds that floated up the stairs that day? The sounds of an animal, its paw caught in one of those traps with teeth of steel. Do you see the wounded creature at the bottom of the stairs, his shoulders hunched over and shaking, fist in his mouth and choking back sobs? It was my husband paying tribute to my art. My Husband Discovers Poetry by Diane Lockward. I'll let you consider that poem. I'll put a link to it so you can read it yourself and consider how much of that may be exaggeration. It's a really fun poem, I think. So thanks for joining me today, and we'll see where we leap tomorrow.